Hello guys, welcome back to ESENtaxa. Andrea Papito here, and in this video we are going to discuss about how to solve your tax problem if you are living in Europe or if you're living in Italy. If you're in this channel, ESENtaxa talks about how to optimize your taxation, squeeze your taxes down, provide you a service which is called tax simulation that basically allows you to understand if there is a margin of improvement on your tax situation, and especially we focus on Italy. So this is the jurisdiction that you might be looking for, and we can help you to relocate there tax-wise, so we understand with you your tax situation, worldwide income tax situation, and we check with you if the relocation in Italy tax-wise makes sense or not. Now, in this specific video, I want to discuss about the problems that you might have if you are living in Europe. It's a very general video, but we are going to be very specific in a certain point of this video. I will be very quick. In Europe, there is an issue. In 2024, we have a big issue. All the jurisdictions are raising their taxes everywhere. There are no more European jurisdictions with some tax special regimes. There are few exceptions. Those exceptions are Cyprus, Malta in certain situations and certain scenarios, Andorra, Principate of Monaco. This last one, also Andorra, they're not even European Union countries. So if you're thinking about it, all those countries that allows you some tax discounts or special tax benefit are islands or remote places. I'm not saying bad things about Andorra or things, but thinking about it, those are countries really hard to reach, far from airports, far from main transportation hub, and in other cases are highlands. Now, here we have to understand that there is no more the possibility to find a place with zero tax in Europe. Unless you want to move outside Europe, okay, there are jurisdictions, still tax havens here and there, but basically you have to go far. Having the 9% corporate tax, it starts to be, also Dubai is moving towards the direction of taxing people. It used to be a complete tax haven. Now, which is the latest jurisdiction that still allows you to a certain level of taxation, which is still acceptable, with still very low compared to the rest of the European jurisdictions. And here we're talking about Italy. Now, Italy has a certain number of tax benefits which are not well sponsorized by the Italian government, which is basically a double side effect. From one side, people are not aware of this kind of tax benefits, and from the other side are not so exploited that the government has changed the idea as the other countries did. For example, Portugal has to ban completely the NHR program because too many people were applying for it. It was too much sponsorized, and then the European Commission put some constraint to all the European countries to say that you should not exaggerate with your tax benefit, otherwise you create tax concurrencies between the European state members. So it's a big issue. Italy still has some good tax benefits. One of the most famous is the Unwanted regime. Of course, Italy also has been pressed by the European Commission to squeeze down, to reduce the benefit of the Unwanted regime. Now the Unwanted regime has 50% deduction on your tax bracket system. So the tax bracket system rates, so the progressive taxation rates in Italy starts from 23 up to 43. With the deduction of 50%, you cut by half these percentages. So you start to be here 11.5% and here 22.5%. Okay? So this is basically now the new tax rates under the Unwanted regime, but unfortunately Italy put some boundaries in terms of list of professions you have to belong to and also be graduated, and all the other tax agency clarifications that needs to be observed in order to apply for the Unwanted regime. And in our services, in our website www.esentaxa.com, you will find also our Unwanted regime eligibility test updated for the 2024. So this is one of the tax benefits that still exists in Italy. It's very nice. The other one is the high net worth individual flat tax. High net worth individual, which is actually, it's a flat tax, it's a fixed taxation of €100,000 that you pay on all your entire foreign generated income. So it's sort of not done scheme, but all the income generated from abroad won't be taxed at the ordinary Italian progressive tax rates, all the worldwide income, but it will be substituted by 100,000 euro. Okay, one fee tax payment. It's fixed. It means that you have million of euro, you pay always 100,000. And the trick here is that if you extend to family members, the family members added to you as a main taxpayer, they pay only 25,000 euros, so 25k. So if both of you are millions, this is extremely good regime, because it's you basically cut by half, so it's 75 each to pay, and you can earn 10 million of crypto or crypto investments, or have company abroad that really are making business abroad and not in Italy, of course. It's like a not done, or it's like a sort of exception of the worldwide taxation in Italy. With this regime, it's sort of territorial taxation with the exception of 100,000 euro. Really, in long story short. But what if you have a problem of starting a new business? And you have an online business, for example, and you're looking for a jurisdiction still in Europe because you don't want to move far, you don't want to go outside Europe, but you want to stay in the heart of Europe, but still you don't want to pay a lot of taxes and pay 30, 40, 50% taxes. In average, if you have a business, and your business normally it makes you, even the beginning, the business should have at least 40,000 euro in revenue upward. If you stay below this threshold, you don't, even the micro business has to be at least 40,000 euro onwards per year in revenues. So if you have these kind of numbers upwards, which is the best jurisdiction to move? Well, Italy has another tax regime along with these two, which is called Forfait Regime, where the entrance restrictions are very limited. There are very few restrictions, especially if you're coming from abroad. You can apply this regime almost for sure. Where in the first 5 years of activity, you pay 5% flat tax. Not on 40,000 or 100,000 or based on revenue, but you pay 5% after a forfeit cost, a virtual forfeit cost, a virtual amount of cost given by the Italian state. So if your forfeit cost is 22% or 40%, or based on the type of activity, because these forfeit percentages that the states give you for free, it's like a virtual expenses that basically you didn't really pay for it. You don't have to even account the real cost, so it's really a light regime in terms of accounting. So the Italian state give you for free 22%, 40% revenue, you reduce your revenue by 40%, for example, and then you apply this 5% flat tax. And the effective tax rate, it's actually 3.9% up to 2.9%. So this is the interval of the effective tax rate if we calculate 5% after having removed the virtual deduction cost. Okay, so this is the forfeit regime in Italy. It runs like this for 5 years, and after 5 years this 5% flat tax becomes 15%. Now you might going to tell me, yeah, I know this regime, I've heard about it, it's very nice, but in Italy has the problem, the social contribution, which is quite high. It's true, the social contribution, it's something that spans, it's an important percentage, has to be taken from your profit, because everything is coming from a profit, between 24% up to 26%. This is the type of, because in Italy we have a couple of type of social security inscriptions. This is, you might calculate this number on your profit in the forfeit regime. So along with that famous 5%, you have to also calculate this percentage. Of course, the forfeit regime has some trick. Based on your type activity, you can reduce this percentage by 1/3, and then your real effective, in certain cases, not in all the cases, but in most of the cases, you can reduce your percentage of social security down to 16%, okay? And then 16% plus 5 on taxes, calculated not on your entire revenue, but on your reduced amount of revenue because of deduction, then the effective tax rates on the forfeit regime, tax rate and social security combined would be something around between 12% up to 20 23%, okay? Based on the type of activity. I always repeat this word because in this specific tax regime, the taxation that you pay, the social security that you pay, changes based on your type of activity. The forfeit deduction increases or decreases based on what you do. So if you're a consultant, by default you have few costs to sustain. But if you're a trader or e-commerce, if you run an e-commerce business online, of course you have plenty of cost that you have to sustain, and the state gives you by default even 60%. So imagine you're earning 50,000 euro, more than half it's considered cost, and it's basically tax-free. Basically what remains will be the base for the calculation of the 5% tax and social security. This forfait regime has a lot of advantages. So you don't have to add the VAT when you issue invoices. In Italy the VAT is 22%. So in domestic trades you don't have to add the VAT in your invoices. This is very important. And then the other important advantages is that when you have this income that flows as a self-employed, because when you're in a forfait regime you are self-employed actually, or freelancer, or known as a sole trader, when you have this kind of status, all the stream of income remains taxed at 5% and doesn't accumulate with the rest of the incomes. This is extremely important. Imagine you have several stream of incomes here and there, because you have a house abroad, because you have some revenue or some dividends. All these revenues will be taxed separately, and they don't, and the total global revenue that you have won't be influenced, won't be touched because of the forfait regime. Okay, this is extremely important. It's a details a lot of people are not thinking about it. And what is the big strain of the forfait regime? The big constraint is that you have 85,000 euro per year revenue as threshold, above which you have to choose the ordinary tax regime. And of course, if you start with the forfait regime, you cannot move to an impatriate regime, and vice versa. Neither, it's not possible. Okay. So it's a choice that has to be done carefully with us, with a consultation here in ESENtaxa. We'll help you to understand if the forfait regime is perfectly fine for you. In certain cases, if you have a more cost than what the government gives you for grant, gives you as a virtual, sometimes it's not convenient. So we always have to discuss if this tax regime makes sense. We have a service that provides you to set up this business, your business as a sole trader, in 24 hours. It's very quick, everything can be managed online, everything is extremely easy. Another important point that I want to mention here, if you're a digital nomad and you're looking for a place to set up your fiscal residence, Italy, it's perfect, because as long as you register your name in the communal residence in Italy, this regime can be run absolutely online, and Italy considers you tax resident only after 6 months that your name is registered in the commune. That's it, so it's extremely easy. Well, I think I said everything. If you're instead, this is for you that you're abroad and you're looking for a place to stay, but if you're living in Italy already and you're looking for a way to set up your business, to move forward with your new business, with a startup business, with an idea, or if an employee that wants to in parallel runs a business, a different type of activity. Of course, you're an employee for a specific type of activity, and then in parallel you want to it's perfectly fine using the forfait regime, as long as your income as an employee it's lower than 30,000 euro gross. And you can run in parallel your stream of income as employee and your stream of income as a self-employed or freelancer. Okay. It's extremely important to know that in certain cases you can get rid of completely of the social security if you run in parallel your forfait regime with your employee stream of income, because in certain cases you don't have to pay social security twice. If you want to know more, subscribe the channel, notification bell, like button. In the description below the video you will have also the link for our offer for the setup of the forfait regime. Okay, watch this video, you will have plenty of details for free. We can give you an online course, completely free, in which we explain you in details the powerfulness of the forfait regime. Thank you for watching this video, and see you to the next content. Bye.